Hi, and welcome to Boosting You, the ultimate wellness platform. I'm Shirley McLean.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sue Peacock. And today, Shirley, I thought it'd be good to talk about worry because I think many people don't actually realise what it is and most importantly, what it isn't.
And this is such an important topic, Sue, because we all worry. And this can be helpful because it can quieten the mind, can't it? And we can come up with solutions to things. However, excessive worry, that's when it becomes a problem and it can be exhausting.
Absolutely. And worry can sort of trick us into doing things, can't it? Into thinking that we're being productive or caring. But sometimes it's just actually mentally spinning, isn't it? Like being in a rocket chair, lots of motion, but we're not actually going anywhere.
Yeah, and the irony is that excessive worry often prevents us from taking actual helpful action. So we get caught up in all those, the what ifs that we freeze.
And what's really fascinating from a psychological perspective, worry is often things that are either completely out of control or things that are never going to actually happen. The studies are showing that about 85% of what we worry about never actually happens.
That statistic is amazing. And hopefully from that, people will really learn from that. And, so 15% that does happen, most people handle it much better than they ever thought they would have done as well, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the brain does this because it's kind of protecting ourselves by preparing for sort of every possible threat. But in our modern world, quite often this sort of ancient alarm system is actually more harmful than helpful, really.
So how do we work with worry instead of letting it work over us? Because I found that giving worry a specific time and place can help contain it. And you know exactly what I'm referring to, Sue, don't you?
I think that sort of worry window time is when you sort of schedule that 15 minutes into your day to fully worry about everything. When worries pop up at other times in the day, you kind of have to be quite disciplined and just sort of write them down later for worry time or think about, I'm not going to think about this now, I'm going to think about it later.
Yeah, and that's the one, a worry window actually does work. Definitely, definitely. The mind relaxes when it knows that there's a designated time to process all of those concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite often I found, when people go back to their worry windows, a lot of what they're worrying about actually hasn't happened or they're not worried about it anymore. So it's a really good thing.
Mm,
And
mm.
another sort of powerful technique is that I sort of talk to my clients about is, distinguishing between that productive concern and unproductive worry. So sort of productive concern is leading to action. So for example, you're a bit worried about your health because you've got certain symptoms. So you schedule a checkup and that's done.
Yeah, right. So worry without action is just kind of like mental torture, isn't it? So if you can do something about it, do it. But if you can't, practice letting go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's a practical tip that I quite often talk about is, when you catch yourself worrying, ask yourself, is this helping me right now? And usually the answer is no. So that awareness alone can kind of break that cycle.
Yeah. Another tip for our Boosting You community is to ground yourself in the present moment. You know, worry lives in the future, but your life is happening right now.
Yeah, such a beautiful point, isn't it? Because we do, our life, as you say, is happening right now, isn't it? And again, if we think about mindfulness practices, they're really incredibly effective, aren't they, for worry because they train our attention to stay in that present where we have that power and that agency, which we've obviously talked about before.
Yeah, and I think, it's a good reminder as well that caring about someone or something doesn't require that constant worry. Love and concern can exist without that mental suffering that worry can create. So sometimes worry can also be because we're in other people's businesses as well. And this is a lot of things that I notice when seeing clients instead of being in their own business. So, owning our own thoughts and our own emotions.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, and that'd probably go on to another boost, really, wouldn't it? So, with that in mind, it's bye from me.
So remember, worry is not love and it's not preparation. It's just suffering in advance for things that may never happen. So use your worry window, a time of day that suits you, and notice the difference. And me and Sue would love to hear your comments once you started using that worry window. We'd love to know how you get on with it because it's a really powerful tool.